Hi knitting friends, Shaina Bilow here. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to pick up on the wrong side of your work. Typically when we pick up and knit stitches, we pick up with the right side facing, so the front of our work or the outside of our work facing, and we pick up and knit our stitches. Occasionally a pattern will call for us to pick up and purl on the wrong side. And that is what I'd like to show you today. So this is if a pattern is calling for you to pick up and purl. I will first show you how to pick up on top of stitches, and then I will demonstrate how to pick up on rows. Okay, so this is where you have a bound off or cast on edge with the wrong side of the fabric facing you, and with your yarn held in your hand for knitting, however you knit. So I'm a continental knitter. My yarn is in my left hand. If you're an English or American style knitter, your yarn would be here on the right. What you're going to do is with your needle from behind the work, you are going to push your needle through to the front of the work. Okay, and I'm just going anywhere right now. You could start at the edge of your work depending on what your pattern is calling for. Right at the edge here. I'm starting in the middle so you can see what type of stitch I'm picking up in. If I open up this fabric a little bit, I'm going to be going into a stitch that kind of points down. If you see these bumps here, I'm going just above the bump that faces down. Curves down. So I've pushed my needle in from the back of the work towards the front. Then I'm going to wrap my yarn around the needle as though I'm purling and carefully bring that new stitch to the opposite side of the work. Alright, then I go into my very next stitch. So I'm going to skip this space here. That's not the stitch. This is the stitch. It's not every single hole. It's every other hole. You're going to stab your needle in from back to front, wrap your yarn for purling, and bring it through. Push your needle from back to front, so we're picking up a 1-to-1 ratio, one stitch for every bound off or cast on stitch here. And we're going into the area that looks like a little rainbow. Our needle stabs through from the back towards the front. We wrap like we're purling and we come up. And this is how you would pick up on the wrong side, purlwise, in order to have the right side facing with a smooth line. Right, so you'd be picking up in this space and this one and this, etc. One stitch for every bound off stitch. And this will look great on the front of the work. If you happen to be working Entrelac and you are picking up with the wrong side of the work facing you, we're going to be picking up purlwise, and here we can start right at the corner. These are rows right here. I'm going to pick up in this full stitch here. So sometimes I find turning my work a little so that I can find that first clean looking line of stitches is pretty helpful. I'm going to insert my needle from back to front into the stitch. Then I'm going to wrap the yarn over the needle for purl and bring that needle up to the front. Then I'm going to pick up in the next row. Push my needle in, and you want to stay in the same line of stitches here. Push my needle in, wrap like I'm purling, and bring the needle up and out. If you're picking up on Entrelac, you may have to skip every other row depending on how many stitches you need to pick up and how many rows you've made. So here I am, I'm going to skip this row and go into the next one. I'm going to stab in, wrap the yarn around, and bring that new stitch up and out. Push it in, wrap the yarn around, and bring it through. So again, depending on your gauge, maybe you pick up 2 stitches and then skip a space, 3 stitches and skip a space. It depends what your fabric is calling for, but this is how you would pick up and purl a stitch on the wrong side of the work. It's a little finicky, and again, it's not used very frequently, but for those times that it is, I sure hope this video helped. Happy knitting!